Hi everyone, it's Andrea from Admire PR and I'm here with Tony Dowling from Real Inbound. Great to have you with us today, and we're going to talk all things CRM, aren't we, Tony?
Mm,
Education here. So I want to start with, what actually is the CRM, Tony? Tell
yeah.
me.
So we're probably going to talk some things CRM rather than all things CRM.
Yeah, true.
But it is, you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of people talking about CRM systems at the minute. And maybe even fair to say, there's a lot of people saying, we need a CRM, or I'd like to have a CRM. Maybe there's not a complete understanding of what it actually is. I think there's pros and cons to the platforms that are out there at the minute. Some of the pros are they've made CRM systems easy to get. So a CRM system like, for instance, Nimble CRM, which integrates with Outlook, or Capsule CRM, which is a really nice lightweight sort of CRM suitable for smaller businesses, gives you a good introduction, but it also kind of simplifies what the CRM is for. CRM stands for customer or constituent relationship management. So the idea is this is the place that you manage all the information about your customer in one place, rather than having, if you can imagine, it's like having one big filing cabinet with everything in, rather than having 15 different filing cabinets in different rooms of the building or even in different buildings. So finance don't necessarily have to go and look up in their filing cabinet and then find that they're missing information, and then have to go to the sales filing cabinet, and then have to go to the marketing filing, and then the customer service filing cabinet. It's all the one filing cabinet and everything's in place. Now, it doesn't really give you much beyond a contact list, unless your business is the sort of business that operates in what we call multi-channel, or even now with the newfangled omni-channel perspective,
Yeah.
which is where they really come into their own. Because what they can do is they can actually suck in data from all sorts of places. So if you have a CRM and it's connected to your omni-channel marketing, it's connected to your website, it's connected to live chat, it's connected to your sales teams, it's connected to customer service, as we said, customer tickets, and so on, then it provides a single source of truth. So my record, Andrea Sexton record, will have all of the interactions, all of the communications, all the purchases, all the customer service conversations that I've ever had with her, with you, in that one place, making it very easy for me to see that. So if you're in a complex and often a bigger business, that's a vital step to take. It allows you to manipulate data, segment your audience, it allows you to measure, it allows you to experiment, it allows you to sort of look for insight, because of all this information that you have around your customers. For smaller businesses, they tend to be used much more as just a contact record, and that's fine. That's absolutely fair enough. So where was that email I sent to Andrea? Oh yeah, I know, I can check it out in Nimble or in Capsule or whatever. So client relationship management, or a single source of truth, is a great way to describe a CRM system. It's meant to be the one place where all the information that you have on a customer is held.
Okay, I really like that single source of truth. That's very good. I've even written
If
that down.
if only it were the case. And one of the problems you get, you see, is introducing systems, especially on top of other systems that you previously introduced, just creates levels of complexity and duplication, and you end up in a hell of a mess. So we see this a lot. Lots of people work off combined Excel spreadsheets of lots of different contacts, lots of information, or they say, oh, we've got a bit in MailChimp, and we've got a bit in Zendesk, and we've got a bit here and a bit there. And that's where we all end up. We all try. I have magpie syndrome, it's terrible. We all try new different toys. And if you think about it, every time you try a new toy, if it's customer centric, customer facing, it creates another load of data, So the idea behind a CRM is perhaps hard to actually achieve. It takes a lot of discipline for a business to say, we're going to bin everything else,
Yeah.
and store everything in that CRM, and that's where you get that single source of truth. But it doesn't always work like that in practice.
No, okay, I get that, because I think, yeah, I've spent a lot of time. I test out all sorts of different apps and this, that, and the other, Say a business came to you, small business, and they wanted to set up a CRM, but they did have like lots of different sources of information, like we all have at the moment. How would you recommend they go about that, kind of slimming it down into one place?
And that's exactly the process. So you could think of it as what we used to call back in the day business process improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we might start the exercise actually with a mapping exercise, and it could be something really simple like process mapping, like how do you attract your customers, how do you convert your customers, how do you deliver, and then how do you collect your money, right? So those are four pretty big processes within any organization. And then we map how the business does that, and that usually flushes out all of this duplication, all of these unnecessary processes, the fact that Mark from accounts is still using the system that everybody else moved away from in 2016. All of this stuff comes out of that analysis. And then if you've got any sense, you kind of go back to first principles and say, right, what are we trying to achieve? And what's the easiest and most efficient way for us to achieve it? Because of course you do often see, like with a website build or a CRM build, can you just give us bigger, faster, cheaper status quo? Can you just do what we were doing, but with modern technology? Which, if you think about it, is a completely pointless exercise. So it is really important to say, well, we don't need. Data is a great example. Lots of businesses have got just stores and stores and stores of data, and they not only do they not need it, they probably shouldn't have it under GDPR anyway. So a CRM system is another great idea when it comes to data protection, managing your GDPR compliance. If you've got filing cabinets of people's files locked away and we saw one business once working on this stuff that had an entire room just for paper files. That's all that was in it. And we persuaded them to chuck them all away. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. My mum might mind me sharing this, but so I grew up with my mum business, and so we're talking sort of late 80s, early 90s, and she had everything in a filing cabinet, and the bottom drawer of the filing cabinet was labelled Pond Life, and Pond Life contained the awkward customers, which of course neither of us have right now, but I always remember that. That she had that. And I do often think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have that little folder in my emails?
So that's one of the advantages, even to small businesses, is the ability to, we would say segment, right? But if you like, put certain people in a box. So say you've got 1,000 records in your CRM, you may have 5 different boxes, or you might label different personas, or you may label different categories. You can label customers by life cycle stage. So if they're a lead, or they're a customer, or they're an advocate, you can look at the state of if it's a sales lead, you can look at the state of the sales lead. Have they been introduced to us? Have we done a brief check? There's all sorts of, and that's one of the main benefits. Another benefit for small businesses in managing your sales process, because obviously if I jump in and see where I've got to with Andrea, the last time I spoke to Andrea, it was 3 weeks ago. What was the conversation about? It's all recorded. It's all there, so I can have, and other people within the business can have immediately kind of get up to date with what's going on. But I can also use it for my marketing. So I can do things like email marketing very easily with a CRM system, and I can obviously capture the interactions people have with any email. For instance, I can see in my record, Andrea has actually opted out of email marketing, and that in itself can tell me it's got some sort of value to me, as well as keeping me safe from a GDPR perspective, because the CRM won't then send out the email. So they do lots and lots of things, from the sort of ridiculous to the sublime, or sublime to the ridiculous, and they can be enormous, and they can have millions of data interactions, links between Internet of Things, sensors, websites, and so on, all pulling information through. And actually, when you hear about the people like the banks undergoing this digital transformation, you hear about government undergoing digital transformation, in large part, it is actually getting a CRM into place of some description. It's basically, the idea is to try and manage or optimize or just tidy up the records that they have, because you can imagine how many records the DVLA have, for instance. They've got all of our licenses, all of our old licenses, all of our points, all of our probational licenses, all of our addresses, the change of addresses, the change of names, change of marital status. They've just got thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of information. And they still don't have a unified single view, by the way, because the systems because it's not an easy thing to do, you know, but that's what they are attempting to achieve, is to get rid of all the old stuff and to make it modern and fit for purpose. And we should do that in our own businesses at a much, much smaller scale, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I've already written myself like a list of things to ask you. I think what's interesting for me at the point where my business is currently quite small, but it's going to grow quickly because I've got a plan in place for that, is to actually get all these things embedded in the business now before that happens, because then I'm not going to have to undo a load of systems that, you know, it can grow with the business. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of food for thought around that, and especially since I think I read a few times that last year was a record year for people starting businesses, and I think, you know, the next few years we're going to see a lot of those sort of move up the ladder into kind of you know, small to medium sized businesses. Hopefully a lot of them will keep running.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of our argument, even though we are formally in recession. The government and all these clever financial people are all talking about this pent up demand, because while we are in lockdown, businesses and our, you know, and people aren't spending. So assuming your business is going well, and some businesses are, many businesses are, and assuming that your personal finances are in fairly good shape, you know, you've had no money to spend. So you've had no reason to spend the money that you've had. You know, we can't go out, we can't go on holidays, we're not entertaining, we're not going to restaurants, and so on and so on. So there is this talk of a kind of a bubble to come, a boom to come, once we get out of COVID. So it's a great, and lots of businesses are doing it. You can see, particularly moving to CRM. CRM is a massive marketplace in the tech world, and it's becoming a bit of a buzzword, and it's becoming almost like a replacement for the digital transformation phrase that we used to hear. You know, basically CRM means digital transformation, and it is a good idea to do it now before you fall any further behind. And especially from that perspective, as you were saying, and you know, to look at how your business runs, look at how you what your processes, what your systems are currently, and can you strip stuff out? Can you stop paying unnecessary bills? Can you simplify things for your customer? Can you delight them because you know who they are? Can you send them a birthday card? You can do all that sort of stuff because you've got CRM, and now would seem to be a very good time to do it. Yeah,
definitely. And you know, with the ongoing personalization of marketing, it's, you know, people are starting to expect that, you know, some information about them, because the big brands are doing that when you shop, for instance. So yes, for us in small business to actually be able to do that, send a birthday card, that's nice. It's a nice thing to do. That sort of thing. It's sorry, what was that, Tony?
Yeah, sorry, interrupting you. But it's a really good point that you're making. This is what people now expect. When I come to shop on a website, I expect certain standards. I expect it to be fast and secure. I expect to be able to find things really easily. I expect to be able to click one big red button that says buy now, rather than go through lots and lots and lots of different steps. You know, it is, and this consumer expectation driven by digital uptake, it becomes a sort of a flywheel, doesn't it? You know, where people expect more, they get more, they expect more, and then they get more, and then they expect more. And as business continues to strive to delight consumers at that, you know, on that multi-channel or omni-channel basis, you know, whether they're using the cash point or going into the branch or banking online or ringing up or whatever they're doing, to the customers, all the same stuff. To the business, they're all completely different silos. So it's really important to get everybody integrated and to get everything together. And CRM, as you mentioned, CRM is the route to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Tony. Thank you so much for your time. I know we're happy to have another one of these talks, because we could go on for like quite some time about this. But I think that's a nice point to stop on. Thank you very, very
Great,
much.
no problem at all.